So here we are going to look at the context mapping implementation that I have done. So let me first walk you through the Excel file that I have created. So in order to map any kind of context that we create, we need to map it down to certain pillars that represent the human life. So here you can see the core pillars that a human has to deal with in his regular life is finance, aspiration, his career goal, his health, wellness, the general sentiment, and the entertainment aspect of his life. And all these core pillars can be linked to the emotional pillars. So finance can be linked to optimism, finance can be linked to joy, finance can be linked to fear, finance can be linked with sadness, finance can be lead to anger, and finance can bring us stress as well. Similarly, all those core pillars that you see can be attached to emotions, because emotions is how the humans reflect their daily activity in their life, because everything in our life is an emotion. So right now me recording this video puts me into optimism and joy, because I'm happy and I'm completely excited to put this out in front of the world. Now, in general, in human life, what we do is we do four things in our life. Fifth element is the element that of surprise, of recommendation, that we ask our friends to help us out. But in general, even after the recommendation, what we try to do is plan an event. Then, before planning that event, we search for that event. Once we do the planning and search, we order that event. And once that order is done, now we have to pay the bills, so we track that event. And now the nudge is nothing but the recommendation, where you are asking your friends that, hey, I have done all these three and I'm doomed. What do you recommend me the next course of action? And the modifiers, the pillar 10 modifiers, which I have included right now, are quantity. What quantity? Finance is linked with quantity. Aspiration is linked with quantity, how much money I want. Then specificity, what kind of money I want. Format is what format of money I want. Location, from which location I want that money. Exclusion, which location I don't want money from. Urgency, how urgent I need money right now. Condition is what kind of conditions I need to get my money. Preference, preferably what's the mode of money that I want. Temporal is nothing but it's present, past, and future. I want money in my present, and I want money in my future as well. And comparison, it's deadly, but then I want to be better than my yesterday. So that is where comparison comes in. That yesterday, if I was something, today I am more better than that. That is where we need to compare yourself with yourself, not with other people or not with any other company. So this is where I build these functional pillars, which I call as the parent classes for any AI application that a human has to build. These are the parent classes that we need to build, and we need to talk about that. Everything can be a subclass of all these core pillars, because without these, nothing can happen. Now, there will be questions. Where is love, Ajay? Where is love? Love will come. It could be your aspiration. It could be anything else. So love will come somehow when you people think that you need love in your life. That's when I will put love in the emotion, or maybe in the core pillar. So now the context, the pillars that I showed you guys, I will be mapping it down to the matrices. Now, part of speech, why part of speech is needed is because part of speech is the way we communicate with each other. So that is where we need the subject, we need the action, we need the context. Context is what we are talking about. Action is the verb that we are talking about, and subject is the noun that we are talking about. And in those cases, primary, secondary, and modifier is nothing but what is the primary objective of that subject, what is the secondary objective of that subject, and what is the modifier of that subject. Similarly, in the action case, everyone has read matrices. If not, you guys should learn it. It's about primary, secondary, and modifier. So action has primary event. What secondary action are you suggesting, and what modifier action are you suggesting? And then we have context. Context talks about the event or the scenario that we are speaking about. What is the primary event? What is the secondary event? And then what is the modifier in that event? Yeah, I do sound like a teacher, but no, I am not a teacher over here. I'm just trying to explain the product, the proof of concept that I have built. So now I will execute the code so that the world can see it, that how a context engineer should map a sentence or any paragraph to these core pillars, because we need to classify the context before we try to understand it. That's how as a human we work as well. If I'm talking about making money, that means I'm talking about finance. If I'm talking about going to doctor, then I'm talking about my health and wellness. So we on a day-to-day basis, what we do is we try to classify ourselves. We try to classify the things around us. We try to see whether the weather is good or not good, or whether it's really good. So those are the aspects that as an human being we try to map. So without understanding the core concepts of machine learning and context classification, we can't proceed in the world of AI, because AI needs to understand humans. These core pillars that we have created, the current parent class that I call it as the parent context classes, without that the world will never understand what AI or what a human is trying to speak, or in general terms, AI will never be able to understand what are we trying to speak. So rather than me giving into any kind of conclusions, we can talk about this later. Probably you guys can contact me and I will explain you exactly what these stuff means. So y is equal to mx plus c is nothing but, that's how the context and slope helps us to understand whether it's a positive event or whether it's a negative event, because everything in this world lies between -1 to +1, minus infinity to infinity, and if I normalize it, it becomes -1 to +1. So slope gives an understanding that the event that we are talking about has a positive correlation or a negative correlation to a pillar. And x is the variable or the context that we are talking about, and to the power n is nothing but the relevance of that information in that context. So if quadratic equations y is equal to mx plus c is needed to understand the basic concept of how that event is linked to that context. So let me run the program for you guys. These are 5 test cases that I have built. Okay, all test cases completed. So now we'll look at our first beautiful example. I've already posted this on LinkedIn, but I felt like I need to post it out so for the investors, for the students to learn, for people to learn, because AI is not just meant for me, it is for everyone. So I will put this video out as soon as possible, but right now I'm going to record this to let people learn exactly what is this, what I'm talking about. So here I've run 5 test cases. We will just discuss one of them. So one of them is, let me go to that example first, and then I will run my mouth again. Text: I want to balance my career growth with my personal life by working no more than 45 hours per week while saving 20% of my income for the future. First, we picked up the career goal. Now you see the noun. Career is the noun, and the weightage assigned to it is 1, which shows that career is the primary objective in this. Subject: for whom is he talking about? The I is a pronoun, so him is talking about himself. What is the modifier? Personal. He's looking for his personal growth. Verb: working, work, and action. Its weightage is given 0.80. The secondary action in this case, what he wants, is again an action. So here it is 0.30 weightage has been assigned to it. Modifier: adjective, no. He wants to work no more than 45 hours. So that adjective is picked up over here. Context: future. You can see he's talking about his future. My income for the future. So that is the context that he's talking about in that case. Secondary context is his life, man. He's talking about his life. And modifier is more. He needs more. So this is an example for our first context pillar, which is career goal. I have put out these results on LinkedIn. I don't want to waste my time and voice, and even waste your voice, because it's gonna just your time as well, because it's just gonna prolong this video for while we go through all the 27 pillars. but this is exactly what I have carried out for all the 27 pillars. So you can see generated 27 matrices successfully. So this is what, as a context engineer, you should be looking at, rather than randomizing, thinking that, hey, what should I do? Should I use pattern matching? No, sir, I'm using cosine similarity. Trigonometry was made for humans to compare two stuff and to understand what's the positive correlation between them is. The whole sine theta, cos theta, tan, all this were here to give us the correlation between two axes. So this is exactly what I'm trying to do, is I am using this context and I am using cosine similarity to map it with the pillar. So here what I'm doing is career goal as a text. Its cosine similarity is mapped to the text that we are producing or we are asking. And the similarity of this is used over here in this case. You can see this is 0.315. This is the slope. This is a positive slope. 0.315 is the positive slope in this case. And the context count, it's a pretty heavy career goal aspect that the user is talking about. That's why it is n to the power 2. So I think I will be uploading more information about it, and probably we can collaborate more and we can work more on this objective of making AI human friendly. Thank you.